Okay, I'm finally just taking the time to read this. I read it actually, but I just want to read it to you guys if you haven't read it. So this is from July 2023, but Arya Starr was the cover star on Teen Vogue. So it's in the culture section, written by Ivy Annie. Arya Starr has the vision. Our Africa's New Wave package celebrates the rich culture and impact of the globe's demographically youngest continent. Through a series of visual stories, we're unpacking the gravity of Africa's history and influence on the world and why it needs to be looked to as a source of inspiration for radical youth focused change. Arya Starr was raised between borders, languages, ethnicities, and principles. Growing up on the contained conservative Nigerian capital city of Abuja differed from the relaxed serenity of her birthplace of Kanao, Benin. Then there was lively Lagos, where she spent her teen years, which felt most like home for the turned award winning musician. But before Arya felt at home, she was angry. When she was 13, her family told her they were moving to Lagos and she burst into tears. Uprooted again, her mother, however, had a premonition of sorts. My mom was like, "When we move to Lagos, this will be the time for you to do music." The acclaimed singer songwriter tells Teen Vogue, "You will be able to blow in. Lagos is a place for you to pursue your music career." Starr then shifted her outlook on the move. And in true Gen Z fashion, decided to vlog the entire experience. She no longer viewed the displacement as negative and she became determined. Arya Star ne Oyin Kansola Sarah Ajibing describes growing up in Benin, Abuja, and Lagos as a crazy experience. "I feel like God really saved me," she said jokingly. But moving from city to city with her family and living in such contrasting environments came with more pros than cons. Arya can speak Yoruba, Nigerian, Pidgin, English, and French, and she's developed the ability to be adaptable without conforming. That's why my music is very versatile. Starr's ascent occurred within a vital context, as worldwide interest in new African sounds has crystallized the mainstream presence of Afro beats on the global stage. The genre's most established and lauded male musicians have captured the international lens of recognition. Simultaneously, the proliferation of social media has cut down the barrier to entry for new stars. That's true. Starr is situated at the intersection of the genre's evolution in sound and representation. Women, whether widely acknowledged or not, have majorly contributed to the lasting power of Afrobeats and the popularity of new iterations in the genre and culture. And right now, a new generation of young women stand among them, honoring and reinventing the music, the fashion, the business, and everything in between. It's the next era for a new genre, and Starr is at the helm, ready for whatever phase comes next. Different people from different generations can listen to me because I grew up around different places and I learned to adapt. She says, "I learned to adapt my mindset. I learned to adapt my way of life. I even learned to adapt my accent sometimes. I feel you can hear that in the music." It's a few days before her 21st birthday, and Starr is too excited to not gush over it. She often stops herself mid sentence before finishing a thought. Upon her discovery that we are both Geminis, she asks slyly, "Aren't we the best? People don't like us for some reason, but it's fine." She laughs easily. She jokes that she's so tired she could sleep for 2 weeks, but adds there's so much work to do. The work started in 2018 when she was signed to Quove Models, an agency in Lagos. A year later, she began posting song covers by artists like Tu Baba and Andra Day, and then modeled in campaigns and music videos for other artists before becoming a musician. She uploaded a few videos of herself covering songs by other artists before deciding to pen and post her own original song in December 2019. It garnered thousands of views prior to reaching the music executive who changed the trajectory of Starr's life with one DM. I first saw a video of her singing one of her original songs on Instagram. Her voice was so powerful, yet she looked so young. Mavin Records founder and veteran producer Don Jazzy explains, "Immediately, I knew I would like to work with her. I sent her a message inviting her to our studio with a guardian. 3 days later, he signed Area to his label." She has since amassed a slew of accolades. In 2021, the single Away from her eponymous debut EP leaked at number 17 on the Billboard Top Triller Global chart, and the music video amassed more than 10 million views on YouTube. That same year, Star released her first album, 19 and Dangerous, which went on to become the number one album on Nigeria's iTunes and on Apple Music in 4 other countries, garnering more than 15 million streams across Spotify, YouTube, and Audio Mac. The infectious single Bloody Samaritan became the first solo song by a female artist to reach number one on Nigeria's Turntable Top 50 chart. The following year, Star set more records. With her 2022 single Rush, she became the youngest African woman to surpass 100 million views for a single video on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Area Star, and I am the future, she prophesied last year during her Viewer's Choice Award acceptance speech at the 15th annual Headies. The young newcomer beat a roster of mostly male heavy hitters. The people voted for Area Star. Her win was unexpected but apt given the state of Nigeria's new music scene and what is resonating with the new wave of fans and musicians. The name Area Star has become the bellwether for a burgeoning genius of African artists. The last 5 years have been the most formative for Afro beats as the music and culture have grown into a globally recognized force, all while spawning newer subgenres, scenes, and fusion sounds in Africa and across the diaspora. Meanwhile, social media has paved new roads to discovery and stardom for artists in places where music industry infrastructures are still underdeveloped for established and upcoming artists alike. The pool of talent is now as vast as it is visible. Artists are circumventing traditional industry and societal constraints, building their own platforms in and around the industry, cultivating craft and communicating directly with fans. They're foregoing their own paths to success, then drawing major label attention instead of the other way around. Mavin Records has become a household name in Nigeria as an incubator for talent and a staple of success in the African entertainment ecosystem. Being signed to Mavin was definitely one of the best things to happen to me as an artist, Star says. But major Nigerian record labels are not signing women as often as they do men. Since Mavin's inception in 2012, there have been only 3 women signed to the label, including Star. So when her secondary school math teacher told her that one day she would be discovered and signed to the label, it seemed unlikely. I'm like 8 minutes in. I like maybe starting to read some of these pieces just so that you guys like know that they exist and they're really cool. Let's see what other parts of this are like interesting to call out. Truthfully, the work for Area Star began earlier as play. She grew up with 4 siblings and all were encouraged by their mother to do music. Almost all are still in the arts. Her younger sister is a model. Her older brother is a video director. Her younger brother is a songwriter with whom Star makes music. She's had support from the important figures in her life, including select teachers who gave her words of encouragement, siblings who lent their talents to help Star hone her own, and friends who showered her with praise. Her mother gave her direction and resources. Star recalls her mother telling her to post on Instagram so the world would be able to see her talents. Her mother purchased a 2-string guitar in an attempt to fuel her children's musicianship, and it was Star who made the best of it. This reality contrasts the long-standing narrative of African youth being admonished and harangued by their parents for pursuing careers in the arts, pushing more traditional, stable professions onto their children. Star came of age in the crux of an older generation's birth into major stardom in music, and a new generation picked up the mantle of global Afrobeats expansion. She is one of the generation that has a blueprint for worldwide success as young African artists make a new kind of music. When Star saw a then 18-year-old Nigerian artist named Wizkid before his rise to superstardom, the idea of professional musicianship materialized for her. Now she has become the generational talent who inspires a new era of stargazers. With us, there was Wizkid, there was Davido. Now we saw more examples of what could be recall Star. For people in my generation, success in music wasn't out of reach. Some of the artists who inspired Star along the way are now her peers. She rubs shoulders and records music with the same people she grew up idolizing, such as Tiwa Savage, Wizkid, and Kelly Rowland. I feel like I'm not really taken everything in yet. It just feels so surreal, Star says. I was on a call with Nicki Minaj. She doesn't understand how much I love her. I grew up listening to her. I was like, you made me feel confident. Because of you, I could tell my teachers no, she said with a laugh. Even with the subgenre's expansion, the conversation of crossing over into the global but predominantly Western mainstream Afrobeats artist is a perpetual one. But Star doesn't think much about it catering to audiences overseas. I'm not trying to make music that's going to blow up in America. I just do my thing. She understands that because of strides made before her parlay into the industry, she benefits by default, but it's also her time to shine. So she goes on to talk about like what's in a name. She's saying like I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna make my fans proud. Her soundtrack is like the audio into her world. The politicizing of a pop star comes with some projections and some fundamental truths. For as much as Nigerian culture has changed over time, the country as a whole still has a conservative values embedded into its society. That's a good point. For Star, it isn't so much a battle for her agency as an artist and a young woman, but a constant compromise of old and new traditions. Fortunately, adaptability is her forte. I'm a voice for young girls around Africa, for young black girls. That's one thing that makes me know I'm doing something right with my music. Does she feel any pressure in being viewed as a voice of her generation? I do now because I know my position now. She explains, before, if you'd asked me that, I'd say, no, I'm just doing my thing, but now I know my position and I can't slack. I'm here for a reason. I've been put here for a reason, and I have to do what's right for the people that are counting on me. It makes me feel pressure, but I feel like a little pressure is good. It keeps me on my toes. Star's purpose is pointed, and she has all the right pieces to complete the perfect pop star puzzle. But as an artist at the forefront of Nigeria's youth music movement, the question of whether she should be tasked with having to represent an entire generation, nation, and genre is warranted. It's a lot to ask of a 21-year-old, but Star says she's ready, willing, and able to accept the challenge in all of its stages, wonders, mistakes, and growth. I just want to be known as the person that's worked hard for her people, for Africa, says Area Star. I want to be known as the girl that inspired confidence in young girls around the world. What do you guys think?